So, Judy, my first question is for you, because I was reading a whole lot about how you passed on many pitches to adapt this book to screen. So what was it about Kelly's take on the material that set it apart from all the pitches you've heard in the past?
Well, it was Kelly's incredible letter that she wrote to me. And in that email, she told me that she had, by the end, she saved it for the end, I think. And by the way, I wrote and directed a movie called The Edge of 17. And I'm like, wait, what? I've seen that movie. I loved that movie. So this is the first time that someone came to me with these credentials, something I could actually see and say, I love this. And this is a good person. And she came with James L. Brooks. And they came to visit me, and it was wonderful. And we knew we were going to work together.
Edge of 17 is a pretty good calling card right there.
I'll say it was a great calling card. It was the calling card. Oh.
Yes. Kelly, for you, I was reading a little bit about how you had been working on the script for this for about a year. So I was wondering, what would you say is the biggest difference between draft one and what we see on screen now in the finished film?
A lot.
That's a good question.
I would say a lot, because I remember it, all the different drafts.
Yeah, it was, because it was, you find it and you wrestle with it. And it's a lot of time. I think the first draft is you sort of put everything, including the kitchen sink in, and then you start to take pieces out and shape it. I mean, it's really, the process is really, I don't know, one where you find it. You find the movie over the course of each process, casting, editing, all of it.
And she found it.
Was there any particular game-changing moment in terms of finding it that you could share with us, no matter what part of the process it's in?
I just have to say there were certain moments that we filmed on set that just felt like, this is so exciting. That's the spirit of the movie. One of them was actually when Margaret goes into her room and puts on a pad for the first time. Like, there's just something about seeing that intimate moment that should be something we've seen before. But I, as a 42-year-old woman, have actually never seen another human being put a pad in their underwear and walk around. So there's something about that just felt, I don't know, there was something electrifying about it. And that felt like, okay, we're doing Judy Blume,
But for me, it was the moment with Laura Denker, and Margaret realizes that she hasn't been fair to this girl, and she chases her and says, Laura, wait. And Laura goes into a church, and Margaret follows her into the church, and Margaret goes into a confessional to see what it's like. And it's almost like she's saying, are you there, God? And she doesn't know what's going to happen. And the priest says, yes, my child. And it's like, this is so wonderful.
There's so many moments that stick out in my head now that you're bringing up that I want to ask about. Judy, I'll ask you a little more broadly. Even having written this book yourself, was there any part of the story that became stronger than you ever could have imagined when you saw it on screen? Something that gave even you a greater appreciation for an element of your own book?
Completely, because Kelly wrote the mother. Kelly wrote Barbara Simons, and then Rachel McAdams plays her in such a way that is so wonderful that I say I want to come back in my next life and be a mother like the mother that Kelly wrote and Rachel plays in this movie. So there's so much, about that, because a movie is different than a book, even if it's the whole book, and it is. But you get to see these characters. You get to see them as real people.
With that in mind, Kelly, so you've now explored, a coming-of-age scenario in the preteen years, also in high school. In the future, are there any other stages of life where you'd be most eager to explore the coming-of-age experience in a film? Because you do kind of do it here, in addition to Margaret, with her mother and her grandmother. And I feel like we kind of box the idea of, a coming-of-age story into kids and kids only, which is not the case.
Yes. No, I think that you're so right. I feel like you can come of age at any age. And I feel like I'm constantly on that journey. You know what I mean? Every time I have to step up and embody some new role or do something that's uncomfortable, I feel like an awkward 12-year-old all over again. So yeah, I don't know, but I definitely, there's something about this particular period of life that always, is fascinating to me. I wonder, like, why do you write about it? Do you know?
Because it's what came naturally, and it was right there. I, scratched the surface, and the 12-year-old was there.
Yes,
maybe still is. Maybe you have to go a little deeper right now.
Yeah.
I think, writing is that way. It's what comes naturally, what you want to do, what you're most attracted to. You can never do too much because each one is so different. And coming of age is coming of age at any age.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, no matter what age you explore next. I wanted to ask a question based on a quote that I read of Judy's in our production notes that really stood out to me. Judy, you were talking a little bit about the idea of becoming an author and how your New York Times book review had influenced you. And I think the quote was something like, it was the first time that you had allowed yourself to think, like, maybe I could do this, maybe I could become an author. So Kelly, for you, I wanted to apply that to becoming a director. Is there anything you experienced that finally made you think, like, maybe I can do this?
Oh gosh, that's such a good question. I have to say, jumping into the director's chair is such a daunting thing that you actually kind of don't know until you get there, and then it's just sink or swim. But I knew that I cared desperately about all the details, and I knew that was the job of the director, was to make sure all of those were right. And I'm definitely obsessive about those. So I knew at the very least I could bring an obsessiveness,
I feel like that's the only way, like, you can actually swim in this industry. It's either obsessive or nothing at all.
Yes, totally.
Thank you both for your time today. Huge congratulations on the film.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.